Hey guys, and today Shorty and I are going to do the review, which is between Geelong and Melbourne, which is at Simmons Stadium. It was the Cats by 111 points, a demolition over the Demons, who managed to get the job done against us last year. But this time around, mate, the cards were different. Melbourne had nothing to play for. We had basically everything to play for. Top four spot on the line, top six even. It was a wonderful performance, clinical, maybe our best performance for the year. That's a big statement as well, but we're just fantastic, mate. You were at work and I think listening in on the radio, and it was myself, Jeff, and Jess at the footy. How did it appear over the radio, mate?
Yeah, no, it sounded pretty clinical to me, mate. They got off to a good start and it just sounded dominant and free flowing and, yeah, absolutely had firing on all cylinders, I suppose. And, yeah, it's funny how, like we said in the preview, when you got nothing to play for, you can either play with a strange sense of freedom and play good footy as Collingwood did against the Hawks, or it can probably work the other way, where Melbourne clearly, once we got off to a good start, they were thinking about Mad Monday. It's hard to fight when you get down. You're at a ground that holds a lot of scars for you, and it's a bit tougher to really dig in. And I think when we were in that sort of form that we were, with a lot of our star players playing to their peak, it recipe for disaster for the Bees. But from what I could tell, I'm looking at a few stats and everything like that, it looked as though most of the boxes we like to tick were certainly ticked, and got some good form into some fellas that needed it, and other guys who are starting to string together multiple weeks of good footy in a row, and the likes of Menengola just starting to fit in seamlessly to the side. Blitzarus was better, Motlop in some great form, Duncan seemed to be better. Just those guys that we aren't quite sure on all the time. I mean, Menzel was the ever-present danger, so
Yep,
it's important to get, because we can bank on Dangerfield, we can bank on Selwood, you know those sort of guys that you can lock on. So yeah, it's good to see some players that needed form and guys that will ultimately control our fate come finals. Really play some good footy, but yeah, that's probably about all I can add, really, mate. Listening to the radio, it did sound as one-sided as it gets, and it was the perfect response. It's what we wanted. I mean, it gave us a life chance of finishing top of the ladder, and you can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah, nicely summed up there, matey. Pretty much spot on there. I was so wrapped with the game and how we played, and as I sort of mentioned before, I think it was one of our best performances of the year, if not the best performance. You may have mentioned earlier how you can play a bit differently, whether or not you have anything to play for. Some teams want to go out on a win and play well and try and get the win. And other teams might collapse under pressure. So it looked like a side that, well, didn't really want to be 100%. They were just, yeah, as you said, they were keen for Mad Monday or whatever else. That they checked out, and I think it was Ruzi's biggest loss ever as a coach. So not the finest way to be sent out from what has been a pretty defensive coach. But look, we were clinical basically all day from the outset. We get the first two goals really quickly. Dangerfield out of the middle, and it was just brilliant performance and start. And second quarter quietened down a little bit and a few more stoppages, but yeah, largely we were just dominant, and haven't seen a Cats side like this. And even the 120-point win against Gold Coast, we didn't even play that amazing footy that we know. And I think this win, despite being less of a margin, we were much better this game than we were against the Gold Coast. So funny how that works out that way. But no, if you look at the stats, mate, nearly 16 more inside 50s, 10 more clearances. We got 40 more touches of the pill. We got 36 more contested possessions. We out-tackled them as well. So that says it all. But what I loved about it is the intensity and aggression and sense of urgency from the first bounce was just brilliant. It's how we measure the way we're going to go for the game is probably that first few minutes and how hard we tackle and just how desperate we are around the ball is a big indicator to how we'll go. It's all about effort and mindset, really, because we know we can play well. It's just a matter of bringing the attitude and the mindset. But our defence was brilliant as well. They combined together very nicely, and ball movement was really good. Pressure was really good around the ball. and converted pretty well. 24-11. We kicked 10 goals, one in the final term. Had a bit of a party in the last quarter, which was exciting to watch. Dangerfield, Selwood, Hawkins, brilliant. Coming into finals, that'll be fantastic, and certainly will need that good form going into September. And yeah, I was just so happy with the way we played. I had genuine faith that we're a team that could go deep into September potentially if everything goes right for us. So yeah, couldn't be much more pleased with that sort of performance going into the pointy end of the season, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of touching back to one of our past reviews, I think the Bombers game, we spoke about the inefficiency in the forward line. I think there were 22 marks inside 50, something like 15 goals, I think. I remember talking about it. I just remember having a look at the stats yesterday. I think we had similar amount of marks inside 50, but kicked 24 goals. So it just highlights, I guess, the difference in efficiency from one stat there. And, there was obviously a combination of better entries and better cohesion with the forward line. And so that's something we've been asking for, which was, really good to see. But I like it, mate. It sounds like some of the better form at the right time of the year, and that's exactly what you want.
Definitely, mate. And the old man and your sister were relatively positive about it as well, which is always good to see.
You'd want to be when you win by 110 bloody points.
Yeah, I wouldn't say every minute of the game was positive, but we'll leave that one there, and you can discuss it with them.
Yeah, I will.
Brilliant. All right. No, they were really good to watch on with. Yeah, so I guess we'll move into the votes. Yeah, you'll just chuck a few names out there. I don't think you got any names from the old man, so that's fine. I mean, you've got a rough idea, and we'll probably have relatively similar thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I listened to it and you get a reasonable idea from the commentators. If I was given a brief 3-2-1, it probably sounded like it was 3 Danger, 2 Selwood, 1 Hawkins, something along those lines. I think Hawkins' start of the game was huge, and Dangerfield and Selwood led the midfield for most of the day by the looks of it, and sort of obvious names, but it certainly sounded and read like they were right up there. But what do you reckon?
Yeah, basically similar, just a bit of a swap around. I've gone with Dangerfield for the 3 votes. He got the 32 touches, 3 marks, 4 tackles. Probably would have had a bunch of inside 50s as well. 16. That's quite incredible. He's taken over Jason Ackermanis' record, I think, of most inside 50s, I believe. So, yeah, look, 16 inside 50s is not a bad player to have kicking it in there. Yeah, look, he was brilliant all day, and I can't believe he didn't kick a goal, to be honest. But, yeah, look, he's fantastic as normal. So, did the job very nicely. I'm going to give the 2 votes to Tommy Hawkins. He got the 13 touches, 9 marks, and 6 goals. Next to his name, I think that's the biggest bag for him for this year. Would that be about right, mate?
Yeah, his previous best was 4, so yeah, it certainly was. Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Yeah, I thought when I looked at the quarter time scores and the stats, I thought Hawkins kicked 4. I couldn't believe my eyes, and I thought he may have kicked 2, maybe 3, but I was like 4. That's unbelievable. But also a fantastic start just when we needed it, and I'm a big guy for giving tips for starting off well. So I'll give the 1 vote to Joel Selwood. He got the 36 disposals, 4 marks, 4 tackles, and kicked a goal. Didn't use the ball too well. He was actually their worst disposal user at 55%, but he got a fair bit of the ball, and he's a brute around the contest as normal, and he did some really good things. But yeah, you might just want to. I don't know if it was that hit early in the game that may have, concussed him slightly or something, but yeah, he wasn't kicking the ball well. Obviously, at 55% have been our worst. But yeah, look, you can't say he didn't work hard.
Yeah, no, he's a ball around the contest, which can lead to some scrappy possessions, but yeah, he's disposed it can improve at times.
Definitely. So we'll move on to the chopping block, mate. Any thoughts on that one? Do you need a hand with that one? I can probably chuck a name or 2 out.
Yeah, I'll draw over you at some stage, but I think obviously the main talking point and concern is Henderson, isn't it? About when he can come back. And from what I hear, it's very minor, and bit of a clean-up, something that sort of had to be done, but, was not of real serious note that, in the big scheme of knee injuries. But I think similar to Stevie J in 2013, he was back from injury to playing was something like 17 days. So we'll be fingers crossed because he's so important to us. The Cats in the VFL had another very impressive win. We knocked off 5th place Port Melbourne, so it's the top side and the top 5 side in the last 2 weeks. So,
beautiful.
It's all falling into place nicely. There's guys playing reasonable footy. I didn't see who the best were in the VFL, but, when you get a good win like that, you imagine that most of the AFL guys play reasonable.
Yep.
So, I think Cockatoo, I read, had a slight knee complaint, hence why he didn't play. I wasn't 100% sure if he was missing through selection or injury, but something slight. And Scott Selwood with hamstring tightness. He'll be in the frame, but he's not a lock to come back in, so we'll just have to wait and see. He's probably a bloke that, Sam Mitchell, it's been clear when you stop Sam Mitchell, the Hawks find it far tougher to win.
Definitely have Scooter in.
Brendan Bolton used to be the Hawks, he tags them. No one else would know him much better than a former assistant coach, so they might, I'm sure they'll throw that around at selection. Do we play Selwood as a more defensive role on him? But,
absolutely.
I think that's more who could come in and who we're waiting on injury wrap. But from the day, mate, what did you think? There wouldn't be too many guys who missed the party, but there can be some. What were your thoughts?
Look, pretty happy overall. And I forgot to mention a couple of other guys, like Jimmy Bartell, a bit of a slow start. He got the 3 goals, probably only the second time in his career he's kicked 3+ goals. Meant a goal, 27 touches, 3 goals. Menzel, 4 goals and 22 touches. It was just an amazing game. Everyone played well. Harry Taylor was brilliant. I wanted to give him a vote as well. But moving into the actual scope of things, probably only one player stood out, and that was Kolajasny, who wasn't too bad. Looking at the stats, he got the 3 possessions and 2 marks, and he dropped a few, which was probably part of what made me think, okay, he could be one to maybe come out at some point. But like the way Buse and Rogles went about it, they were fantastic down back. And Stanley took a couple of big clunks in the forward 50. He was really good. Just needs to convert a little bit more. Zach Smith doesn't seem to do heaps with the ball lately. You're not going to drop him because he's so important to our structure. Just when I've looked the last few weeks, I feel like it's been Kolajasny and Smith who haven't had great impact maybe around the ground. Mackey's doing what he's doing. He's not, the world's not on fire with him, and it's not like he's playing bad, but he's just one that comes to mind. Guthrie, we have high expectations on him. We're not dropping him, but just hasn't quite been the same footballer he was sort of early in the year, probably similar to last year. I'd probably say Kolajasny would be the only one that'd be on notice, or would be a likely replacement for Henderson once he comes back and he's healthy. You'd naturally think Henderson, more seasoned, experienced player, can play forward as well, would go out. Go in for Kolajasny, who would go out. Yeah,
absolutely, and I suppose there's a fair chance Kolajasny could be dropped this week anyway. Given we're playing Hawthorn and they're not overly tall forward set up, I think their smalls concern us more than anything in the air. So, you mentioned Buse and Ruggles there were reasonable. So, you definitely think the option could be there. With obviously Taylor, Lonergan and Mackey already there. It might be a thought process. He may not have a match up, but all depends on the real match committee. But, very quiet though.
Do you think it would be Selwood for Kolajasny potentially?
Yeah, potentially. Considering they've caused us the most concern at ground level when it hits the deck, I think Kolajasny doesn't win a lot of his ball and he's a taller type. Could be the potential, especially with Piopolo and Bruce, Rioli, Gunston's a great mark, but he's also great on the ground. So I think our concerns lay more so at the deck than in the air, so could potentially be.
Nice, mate. We're looking at next week.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Go for it. It's a huge clash.
Shall I say the week after? Because we've got a bye, and it's getting interesting. We have got a blockbuster. The Hawks and the Cats at the MCG. Should be at Simmons Stadium because we've made it a home final, but it's not going to be there. Just because of bums on seats reasons and money. Yeah, so look, we got the job done against the Hawks last time by 6 goals. They had a few out that day, and they'll probably have similar out again the week after. Look, it's going to be another brilliant clash, and they always are in finals. Last time in a final, it was the Hawks by 5 points, I believe. So in the 2013 prelim, a very dour night. Yeah, look, it's going to be an awesome clash, and tough to really chuck a tip out there or anything like that. But we may even do a preview of it potentially. I don't even know. What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I mean, we could probably talk about it for half an hour. But no, I think, probably give it considering the buy, to give it its own video would probably be fair and make sense. But yeah, no, it's as big a final as you go for, really.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, you can give some quick thoughts, mate, and we'll probably do a preview about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll be a great game. Hopefully, I can get along to it. We'll just see what happens with work. But you couldn't write a better script, really. It'll be an enormous crowd and enormous expectation and ramifications for the winner and the loser. So, yeah, in a way, I can't wait for it, but in another way, I just hope I can actually get there. But I'm sure we'll cover it off more in depth in the preview.
Nice, mate. Friday night game. It should be juicy. But we'll get a preview happening with that one, guys. Probably to be uploaded on the bye weekend, and should be an exciting game. And that's the review anyway. With the Cats getting home by 111 points against the Demons, a huge win for the Cats going into the finals, and could have been very different. Could have been up against GWS, I think, if there was 2 points the other side of Hawthorn. But that's how it goes. We'll take it and hopefully get a win.
Absolutely, mate. Good stuff.
Awesome, Shorty. All right, thanks for hanging around, guys. Don't forget to give the video a like, share it around to your mates as well. It'd be fantastic. And subscribe as well. That'd be brilliant. And stay tuned for the preview for next week. Thanks for hanging around again, guys. Have a good one. Take it easy, and good night.